Hello guys and girls. If you are someone recently released from prison, or you are connected to someone still in prison and soon to be released, and you're a part of their support system out here, you're in the right place. Welcome to Fresh Out of Prison.
We don't take no L.
Fresh Out of Prison is a pet project of mine I've been working on off and on here and there for quite a few years now. And I decided it was time to put together some useful tips and advice for people coming out of prison who were having a hard time in terms of housing, transportation, employment, and growth issues in general. I was released from federal prison January 14th, 2009, after a 42-month sentence for a conviction of 32 counts of wire fraud against Equifax. I was also sentenced to 36 months supervised release afterwards. And because I was able to walk that through successfully, with no hiccups or setbacks or interruptions, it occurred to me that others might benefit from the roadmap I took. After seeing so many of the guys I was released with fall through the cracks of the system and this societal structure because of either lack of information, lack of patience, or discipline, or a strategy, I decided I should try to make myself useful and help where I could. So the first thing to understand is that it's true, the system is set up for you to fail. And society plays a crucial role in reinforcing and strengthening that system's agenda by rejecting you everywhere they possibly can, with only a few exceptions, because you're a convicted felon. I was blessed with God's favor through the support and guidance of a few key people. I was also blessed with the right information, such that I was able to successfully navigate this playing field. What you find out is that most of the halfway house counselors and your supervised release or parole officers are themselves provided with very little information from their own agencies, with the resources they need to give you to help you succeed. I wrote Fresh Out of Prison originally in 2012 because of this, sharing my tips and strategies on this topic. Now, with this coronavirus situation, the circumstances are even more dire. So I've decided to relight this candle for the 2020s, armed with even more insight and knowledge than I had then. The truth is, Fresh Out of Prison is not for everybody. For the guys and gals who know they are not finished playing their games, this is probably not going to help you. I know. A person needs to be really done risking their freedom and determined to put those same smarts that got them sent to prison to good use now toward rehabilitating their lives for themselves and for those who depend on them. The people who have been waiting for them, writing them, taking their calls, and need them to be successful and need them to remain free. Fresh Out of Prison is designed for those people who recognize that more than likely the time has come in their lives to let the streets and the street games and the street people go. If you know that deep down inside you're really not done with the streets and you still think it's cute to be out here risking your freedom, you haven't lost enough. nor suffered enough yet to really benefit from the fresh out of prison approach. You still got another prison bit left in you, so don't waste your time with this. See, for some people, prison was just a pause from the game, not a period of reflection and redirection. And as soon as they can, they'll be back at it again because they do not believe yet. So my goal is to do my part in helping the guy who is ready to stop being a trick for this jail system. Yet he's likely to still fall through the cracks and be defeated by the whole process of reintegration after incarceration, even though he wants to do better. This is the guy fresh out of prison exists for. Now, in a nutshell, there are a few key things you need to be ready for if you are to successfully navigate the playing field you are on or will soon be on. The halfway house process, transportation issues, housing issues after the halfway house, job search and all the rejection that comes with it, and getting the funding you will need to get the training you will need to create a new crime-free life for yourself and for your family. The world you are coming back to today is a digital world, and a world where you will have to step your game up in order to make it out here and stay free. Now, as it relates to getting funding for education and vocational training, the best way to get set up for it is to start while still in prison, actually. And what I mean by that is if there are any programs in the facility that you're in, like drug programs and anger management programs, you absolutely must participate. Here's why. The federal government funds a program we call Voc Rehab, which is short for Vocational Rehabilitation. And although the funding for this program is federal, the administration of it is handled on a state level, usually from your welfare offices in the state. And truth be told, vocational rehab is exactly what you need right now because you need a new set of skills. If you were a dope seller or even a check writer like I was, those skills are no longer useful if you want to remain free. So you truly do need a new vocation to profit from. With that being said, it's very important to be able to show that while you were incarcerated, you did things to benefit yourself, like drug counseling, like anger management. Because this way, the prison itself can vouch for your participation and make it that much easier for you to qualify for Voc Rehab services and financial support once you are released to pay for some of this training. We'll get into that more as I move you forward through the process inside the ebook Fresh Out of Prison. First things first though, you have to make it through the halfway house process successfully. Because none of this is relevant for you if you cannot make it through the halfway house process successfully. So in Fresh Out of Prison, I'll be putting a lot of focus on navigating the halfway house process, and I'll be going into greater detail about how to do it. Since a large part of successfully making it out of the halfway house is job search related, dealing with the transportation issue early on is a must. So one of the first things you want to do after getting situated with your license and ID and that kind of thing is check with your nearest Catholic charities programs, because oftentimes they run or participate in car donation programs where they give tax write-offs or vouchers to people who donate old but still running cars and will sell them to you for cheap. I remember I bought a 1996 Pontiac Grand Am in 2009 for $60. That little car served me well too. So well that when I got out of the halfway house a few months later, I ended up giving that car to this semi-homeless guy I used to pay to keep my yard cleaned up on the house I was renting. Having your own transportation while still in the halfway house will work wonders for you in your two most important tasks you have while in the halfway house. job search, and house hunting. Which leads me to the next mountain you want to have to avoid having to climb. Where will you live after the halfway house being a convicted felon? Almost no apartment complexes want to even talk to you as a convicted felon, so don't even waste your time with that. The best way to avoid that nonsensical drama is to go straight to Craigslist.org and find a private landlord who just needs to rent out his little investment property and doesn't care about anything other than will you pay the rent on time and will you take care of my property. And that's exactly the kind of attitude you need a landlord to have, period. Apartment complexes, and many jobs too for that matter, want to act like it's their job to re-sentence you for being a convicted felon by turning you down, as if it's now their job to add to the sentence the judge gave you and that you just finished serving. You'll run into that kind of attitude a lot out here, which again is what fresh out of prison was designed to save you from and steer you around. We'll get to that later. Right now though, you will need to deal with the job search issue before you even get to the housing stage, so let's talk about that for a second. I know everybody is not the same when it comes to job skills, but in my opinion, car dealerships are great places to work when you're in the halfway house because of the hours they run, from bell to bell, from open to close. Doesn't matter if you choose sales or the detailing department. Car dealerships are a great way to stay out of the halfway house all day long and avoid the foolishness of other convicts that don't have a plan and those silly little power-hungry staff members you must contend with in the halfway house. The ones that like to be nasty with you and treat you like you're less than them. The ones that always threaten to pick up the phone to have you sent back to the joint over the slightest provocation or disagreement. Bottom line is, you should expect the halfway house process to be full of drama and foolishness. At any rate, fresh out of prison is designed to help glide you right past the BS and get to your goals as soon as and as smoothly as you possibly can. So if you or someone you know could use a little after prison guidance, fresh out of prison can walk you straight through this phase of your life with as few hiccups as possible. See you guys on the inside, God willing, and I'll talk to you soon.